Hey guys, we're going to be going back to the Manticore for another variation of rank 1 clears. This time we're not going to be using Sylvie, Kaito, Chizuru, Esther, etc. So we're going to be mixing it up a bit for those of you that don't have the units I've been using in the previous videos. And then I'm probably going to take a few days of break from Clash of Wills. But let's go ahead and get another rank 1 clear, and this should hopefully give you guys lots of options. So we're going to use Bulwark as our provoker. He's going to be using the Morgana Rod to get infinite morale. Maeve is going to be the tank that gives us Beast Killer. Kresnik for morale fill healing. Wilk and Laura are going to be damage dealers, and then Roberta is going to be damage dealer and also the insect buffer. So let's get in here, get a rank 1 clear, and then I will post the turn chart, show you the gear and all at the end of the video. So in the base form, Lara Croft is using a wind and an earth weapon. So we're going to go ahead and just triple hotshot to just seal the boss. Bulwark's going to start in the base form. He's using the rod in both forms. And he's going to use, in the shift form, Chirrup and Mascaphony. Mascaphony is an AoE re-raise. Maeve's going to start in the shift, go to the base. Then she's going to provoke, cover, and effective strategy. Wilk in the base form is going to do wind stance, cloud style, and steady claws. Roberta in the shift form is going to morale fill. Then we're going to do aim and her Magnus. Kresnik will just start the arcane stimulant. Okay, so a lot of morale fill. You know the way it goes. If you don't have the Morgana staff or the Morgana rod, go and get it. Once again, we've got Bulwark in a higher party slot than what's it called? Than Maeve. Maeve is covering and provoking. Turn 1, the boss doesn't really have any accuracy, so it does very little damage. Now, if someone critical gets mana drained and you can't deal with it, for example, like you don't have enough like auto-fill mana. Like I've currently got a lot on Roberta. As you can see, she auto-filled her mana back to 445 from auto-casting. If you don't have enough of that on turn 2, you can have Bulwark. He's always got a Mascaphony no matter what. But if someone is out of mana, you can use Electric Ensemble to refill them. But we don't need to, so we're just going to morale fill again. Wilk on this turn can shift and do Dragon Reincarnation. That's going to break the boss. Lara Croft can just hit the boss again to seal. Roberta in the shift form is going to do morale fill. We're going to do insect mitigation, and we're going to do support from the skies to mirage, because we're not going to imbue the boss this turn. We're going to use arcane antioxidant to resist buff with Kresnik instead. Maeve on this turn is going to urine natural. She's going to morale fill, and she's going to do run wild for a bigger earth resist buff than Kresnik gave us. Okay, so this turn may hit Maeve a little bit hard, but it should be mostly fine. We did give some Mirage. It's hurting a little bit, but as long as your Maeve is well geared, you'll be okay. So there we go. We went to about half health. Not too big a deal. Overall, pretty fine. Let me adjust my turn chart. I'm just noticing a small error in the turn chart. There it is. Okay, so on this turn, if Kresnik had his LB ready, you can use it. It's better if it is. His is not ready, so whatever. We're going to just Courageous twice, and 3 times, because why not? Heal the team up. So Roberta in the shift form is going to morale fill. We're going to do Aqua buff, mostly for the defense buff, and we're going to refresh the Dragoon's aim. Lara Croft is going to seal again. Back to the base form with Wilk, where he's going to refresh Cloud Style, and then just do Steady Claws twice. Maeve on this turn is going to refresh cover. She's going to Wild Guard for the Mirage, and we're going to refresh strategy. And then Bulwark can just shift, and again, morale fill, and Mascaphony for the re-raise. Yeah, Bulwark is basically just here for the wind support. and then provoking. That's really all Bulwark's bringing. But I mean, it's an important job. It's got to be done. So there's a mana drain on Wilk. Thankfully, Wilk has massive bulk, so it doesn't really do anything to him. He just basically ignores the mana drain. That's kind of fun. But whatever. And then Bulwark did get the gravity attack, so don't worry about the fact that he's like at low health. It's not a problem. Okay, so some auto casting stuff. Okay, we're going to once again use Lara Croft to just bolting strike a few times. We're going to go to the base form with Roberta. We're going to morale fill. We're going to refresh the insect killer, and we're going to mega breath to get ready. Wilk on this turn is going to shift and do Hurricane Fist for the Fist in Peril to get ready for next turn. Maeve is going to refresh You're a Natural. We're going to refresh Provoke, and we're going to do Run Wild again for the resist buff. Let's see. We're going to shift Bulwark. This turn, we're going to Hurricane Harmony to 60% wind amp the party. And then we're going to Mascaphone to re-raise himself. And Kresnik can Potion, Antioxidant, and Remedy. So the morale isn't quite as good this clear. I mean, we got to max, but that's because I'm not using Sylvie's cards either. You know, obviously for a no Sylvie video, we couldn't use my 2 Sylvie cards on the team, because that would be cheating. So not using Sylvie's card is a little bit less morale per turn, but with the Morgana Rod, it's fine. We've got maxed out by turn 5, and this is going to be our burst turn. Alright, so we're going to shift Bulwark this turn, and he is going to, on this turn, we're going to do Breezy Beat, and we're going to do Mascaphone to re-raise. Alright, Maeve is going to cover, strategy, and provoke. Kresnik is going to triple. We're going to do AoE re-raise, and then just double potion here. Alright, and Wilk is going to do Vengeful in the shift form. Laura is going to shift, and Laura is going to do Queen of the Jungle. That's a bigger Beast Killer buff for herself. And Roberta is going to quad tag in the base form. We're going to go ahead and get our maxed buffing. And we'll go ahead and deal our damage. So again, we should comfortably overcap by a certain amount. Not sure how much exactly, but we'll see. So we need 2.5, and we did 2.6. So it wasn't a huge overcap. I did 2.87 in my test run a minute ago. So variance, that was a bad variance roll, but it's still overcapped. So you know, whatever, we did good. So we're going to continue our damage at this point, or our clear. Now normally we would use Kaito to get rid of all the boss's buffs. For obvious reasons, we can't do that, but that's okay. So back to the base form with Lara Croft, where we're going to hot shot a few times to refill her LB and seal the boss. Wilk back to the base form, where we're going to Wind Stance, we're going to Cloud Style, and we're going to Steady Claws. Roberta is going to use her LB this turn, just for a big buff, and reapply Spear in Peril. Kresnik is going to, let's see here, what are we doing with Kresnik? We're going to re-raise our Provoker, and we're just going to use Curaja twice to heal the party, because we do have, we're also going to use the defense buff this turn. There we go. We're going to guard Maeve, because the boss does have an attack buff. It's going to hurt a decent amount. We're going to use Hurricane Harmony, and then we're going to do the base form Magnus on the tank. So Hurricane Harmony to refresh that, and Jaunty Jubilee on our tank. Before we do this, let's go ahead and use the barrier from the morale skill, because we're going to be taking a decent chunk of damage on these turns. As you can see, pretty painful, but with the morale barrier and all the buffs we did, we survived that, not a problem. Now, I might have been like overly cautious about Maeve. She's tanking this pretty fine. I'm taking like barely any damage. Maybe I didn't have to guard her, but we're going to be just ultimately safe, and we're going to guard Maeve again on turn 7. So this turn, we're going to use the base form LB of Bulwark. That's going to heal the party, barrier the party, as well as give us a bigger mitigation buff. Wilk is going to shift here. Now we got to do Dragon's Reincarnation because the boss's breaks are wearing off, and we might not win here. So yeah, we got to do Dragon's Reincarnation even though it's lower damage. We're going to shift Laura and do Queen of the Jungle again. Roberta is going to just do quad. We're going to Mega and Triple Mystic this turn. And Kresnik is going to re-raise the Provoker. And then we're going to use Potion and Cure Raja to heal the party, because the party is taking a decent chunk of damage. So we're going to now go ahead and do the Resounding Will. On this turn, because the healing debuff, we're still not fully topped off, we're going to also use Resurging Will. Never use the top skill. Never ever use Remedial Will, because that'll dispel your party. It's the biggest troll. Don't do it. Let's go ahead and chain this up. Deal a nice chunk of damage. The boss does still have buffs currently, so we're dealing like a lot less damage, but I mean, we're still doing fine. Whatever. Boss's buffs, who cares? Like, he is still, well, he was buffed. Now he's not. Anyway, there we go. Oh, we didn't deal earth damage last turn, but that's okay. We don't really care. It's fine. We did wind damage, and as long as we do wind damage, the boss loses his defense buffs. Anyway, so that's it. That's basically the win. So we're gonna go ahead and quad Mystic with Roberta. That's basically all you need to do. That's gonna finish it off. But just in case, we're gonna go ahead and triple hot shot with Laura. Back to the base form with Wilk, and we're gonna triple Frenzied. And that should be the end. Let's have Maeve do You're a Natural, and then we'll refresh, cover, and provoke in case we don't finish off the boss here. Like, it's possible you don't, but we are. So there we go. So feels a little bad that the burst turn we only did 2.6.5. Because it makes it look like this clear is like really stretching it, but the previous run I did 2.8 something on the test run. That was a comfortable overcap, but whatever. I just got a low roll that time. That being said, the gear I'm using is pretty strong, so if your gear isn't as good, it might not be as great of a cap here. But here's the breakdown. Wilk is decently strong. Roberta is fine, and then Lara Croft is terrible. But we're doing what we can. We're doing what we can. You can replace the DPS units like Wilk and Lara Croft are very replaceable. Just bring the best ones you want. Sky is a good option. Esther's a great option, etc. Oliveira is really good as well. Just take your favorite morale unit, and you'll be good. So here's the party that we used. The slot 1 is going to be our Provoker. Empress's upgraded Celestite Rod, both forms. I also gave him Dragon's Breath, Positive Prosperity, Call of the Wild in both forms. Also gave him Guts and Philosopher's Stone Seeker in both forms. Passive Provoke, Mana Reduction. And then the Practice Session card, that gives him a big mana pool. That way if he gets mana drained, he can always act. And there you go. So the Celestite Rod gives us tons of morale fill. And he does the 60%... I don't think I can actually show you from this menu. The 60% Wind Imbue, Wind Amplify, Wind Imperil, and all that for the party. Maeve in the base form is a little bit of Wind and Earth Resist. Not a ton, but enough. Just high HP, high defense. We are also maxed evasion, and we're not using any passive provoke gear at all. Make sure she does not have a single piece of provoke gear equipped, or it will ruin the strategy. The power cut card, and then here's the materials to get it going. Shift form is auto buffing, a lot of morale stuff. So just auto casting, morale, Phoenix Energy, Obsidian Bracer, Treasured Ring. Make sure you're using the Obsidian Bracer. Obsidian Bracer is very important because we don't break on turn 1. We are only using Obsidian Bracer's breaks for the first turn. And then here you go. Here's the setup. Kresnik in both forms is just using some auto casting for morale, mana reduction, Stone Seeker for mana drains. And again, if you don't have these, whatever, it's fine. Just do what you can. And again, give lots of HP and defense because the damage over time is pretty painful, especially in phase 2, because we don't have a way to remove the boss's attack buff like we'd usually do with Kaito. So keep that in mind. We really got to be careful about the damage over time effects. Wilk in the base form is just like mana reduction, auto casting, some bulk, who cares. Shift form is, and make sure he's using his claws though. The claws are important because the claws give him insect killer, and that's a really big deal. Shift form is just damage, high attack power. He gears for Insect Killer for free, so does Beast Killer as well. If you have any spare slots, give it to Bulk, and then he's maxed on everything, and he's a decent damage dealer. Lara Croft in the base form is using a Wind and Earth weapon to seal every turn. Other than that, a lot of bulk in the base form, some auto casting for morale fill. Shift form is using a Spear build. So Spear, because we're getting Spear in Peril from Roberta. So here is her setup. Just chain damage versus beast and insects. And then the Cog card is slightly better than her own card, but if you don't have that, her own card is basically the same thing. So we've got maxed beast and 250 insect killer. Then Roberta, in the shift form, is using a wind and earth weapon as a backup. I mean, we always seal in the base form of Laura, so whatever. But anyway, here's the shift form. A lot of auto casting, a lot of bulk, a lot of mana refill in case we get mana drain. Remember, she got mana drain to 0, and then she had double Galbana Lilies, plus she had a Stone Seeker, plus she's using the Dazzle card with 5,000 MP. So, yeah, she auto-filled her MP for free. Base form is using a double-handed fist build because we're getting a 35% fist in peril from Wilk, which is obviously really good. If you don't have a double-handed magic fist, you could use a double-handed spear build because, Roberta does her own spear in peril. If you don't have a good non-elemental double-handed spear, you could also go with a double-handed instrument and then just use Bulwark to instrument in peril one of those turns, and you'll be fine. So there's the base form, double-handed build versus beast and insect, the Dazzle card, and maxed beast and maxed insect. So there it is. There's our perfect score without Sylvie, Chizuru, or Kaito. Now I need a break from this. I've been doing this pretty hard for 2 days, so I will see you guys a little later.